Hello, everybody, and welcome to Season 7 of the FDL. Thank you for joining us this season. I am very pleased and excited to have you, and I'm going to be walking you through how things are going to work this season. So, firstly, as all of you know, we'll be trying something new, a team draft before our regular Pokemon draft. Players in the red tier who have been determined by their FDL career win percentage are captains and have drafted 2 players to form a team of 3. And to ensure teams are balanced, we divided the rest of the league into tiers based on their win percentage as well. In order, the tiers are red, blue, and yellow. New players will be put in the yellow tier. There's only one new player, and that is actually my IRL brother, Plums for All. Everyone give him a warm welcome. Show him some love. So each tier has 10 players. There's 30 players total this season. Captains actually already chose one player each from both the blue and yellow tiers to complete their team. The order of the player draft was wheeled randomly, and I'm going to be showing you how the teams shook out this season. So this is actually the reveal of the teams, and here we go. Wrong thing. Hold on one sec. There we go. All right. There it is. Here's the teams that everyone drafted. So Tarkington had the first pick. His first pick was Kid, and he also drafted Buzz Lightweight. Splatty drafted Electric and Plums for All. Jude drafted Lofus and Scoobar. That's going to be a very scary team. Seth drafted Kigachu and Gabma, also a scary team. KD with Anti and Dodge Dixon. That's another really scary team. Oh my god. Drops with Jordan and Skelebungus. That is going to be the Loyal 3 Part 2. Sorry, Confused. You are no longer part of it. B. Hanny with Mr. Amazing and Ted. Confused with Mike and Tetris. Me with Flare Blitz and Gengar. And then Carney with Trickster and Perry. So that's how the team shook out this season. Alright. And as for the Pokemon draft, actually, while I'm here, I'm going to show you the new tier list. So, not much change. We did like drop and promote a few Pokemon. I'm going to release this, just the tier list, not the full document, like right when this video drops. The full document is not quite ready yet, but so for the Pokemon draft, we're going to begin that on the 25th of February. That is next Tuesday. All right. So draft pods are going to be separated by tiers as well. So captains are going to draft with other captains. And also for our purposes, captains and red tier players is synonymous. Blue tier players are going to be drafting amongst themselves, and yellow tier players are also going to be drafting amongst themselves. The drafting order for the Pokemon draft will also be wheeled. That has not happened yet. We'll be doing slow draft again, but with some rules to make sure it goes along quickly and smoothly. About a couple days before the draft, we're going to post an AFK check to verify that everyone is ready to begin drafting. Everyone will start with a 12-hour timer, but for every pick you miss, your timer will be cut in half and your selection will be automatically made starting alphabetically from the highest available tier. And this will continue until you speak in your draft channel. To avoid this happening, we ask that just for the week of draft, you turn on your notifications for pings and be aware of your draft timer and position throughout the week. Leaving picks is a great way to ensure the draft doesn't stall while you're unavailable. Just ask somebody in one of the other drafts if they can take your picks for you. And once draft is over, we'll have a grace period for transactions, which I'll explain later. And then week 1 will begin on the Monday of the next week. The season will run for 7 weeks, so it will end sometime in mid-May, I think. And then we will have a top cut of the 4 teams with the best record. Alright, as for the draft itself, so we will be returning to Regulation H once more. The tier list will have some changes, like I said, and like you're seeing right now. But the system for building your team will remain the same as the last 2 seasons. To refresh everybody though, the system is as follows. So we will follow a serpentine draft order and start with our tier picks. In this part of the draft, each player can draft 2 Pokemon from each tier. So A, B, C, D, 4 tiers, so 8 picks in the tier picks. Once this part is finished, we'll begin the points section of the draft and start in reverse draft order. You'll have 250 points to select 4 Pokemon. And the points values work out to where A tiers are worth 100 points, B tiers are worth 75, C tiers are 50, and D tiers are 25. So you could do something like A, B, C, D. You could do A, A, D, D, which those are the 2 most common. But I think you can also do like, Can you do 4Bs? No, not 4Bs. Anyway, you could do BBCC, I think. I think that's another thing you could do. So if you want to, you can go under 250 points. I don't know if anyone has actually done that yet, but you obviously can't exceed 250. All right, and then Terra Captains are also returning for the 3rd straight season, but we will be changing how they're selected. So previously, you had to select 1 C tier and 2 of your D tiers to be Terra Captains. Now, like the points section of the draft, it also operates on a point system. You'll have 100 points to select your Terra Captains, and the point values for each tier are the same as they are for the draft. You still can't make an A tier a Terra Captain, so none of these Pokemon can be Terra Captains, sadly, but you can make up to a B tier your Terra Captain, with 25 points left for one of your D tiers to also be a captain. You can also have 2 C tier captains. I think it works out to where you could do BD, you could do CC, you could do 4 Ds. So yeah, or CDD as well. All right, but regardless, Terra types on your captains will remain the same. You can declare 3 types total on your Mons after the draft, and 1 has to be Stab. Stellar does not count towards your Stab Terra. So let's say I select Brambleghast that I want to make a Terra Captain. I have to make one of its Terras either Ghost or Grass. It has to be. I can also add Stellar. I can also add the other Stab Terra if I want. So I could do Grass, Ghost, Stellar. I could do Grass, Fire, Water. I could do Grass, Fire, Stellar, whatever. Just has to be, one of them just has to be Stab. That's the only restriction. Okay, so since there's only 1 new player, I'm not going to be giving a demo on drafting or genning this time. Go back to my camera. Instead, if you need to see a demo on those, I'm just going to ask that you watch those sections of my Season 5 intro video, which is split into chapters, so it should be pretty easy to find on my channel. But if you still have any questions on anything, just reach out to any of the council members or myself. Alright, so transactions this season are going to function the same way as last season. You'll get a 24-hour grace period after your respective draft ends to change your team as much as you want within the given constraints. So constraints meaning you can make transactions within the tier point constraints. It just kind of has to like fit the same way that you drafted your team basically. So after the draft ends and before week 1 begins, you'll also need to declare your Terra Captains. After the grace period is over, every player will have 4 regular transactions and 4 Terra transactions they can make. A regular transaction must follow the tier and point constraints, like I just said, to be validated. A Terra transaction can be either changing the Terra type on your captains or changing your Terra captain. Note that if you change multiple types on your captain within a given week, it will only count for 1 Terra transaction. Also note that dropping a Terra captain from your team and promoting another Terra captain, either one that's already on your team or one that you picked up to replace the Terra captain you dropped, it will only count as a regular transaction, not a Terra transaction. And lastly, transactions made before each week on Monday at 3 a.m. EST will count for the next week, not the current one. Okay? All right, and now for the new part. I'm going to walk you through how your matches will be working this season. So your team will be paired with another team each week, and you'll have access to the full schedule at the beginning of the season. However, you won't know your opponent until the week begins and the captains of your teams initiate a coin toss, which I'm going to show you how to do momentarily. At the beginning of the week, captains will use a Discord coin toss bot to decide who selects the first matchup. You'll do this in the coin toss channel each week, which I have already created in the channel, and the server I mean, and we'll be using the /toss command. Either player can call the toss first since it's a 50-50. So for example, let's say Team Stacks is playing Team Carney. All right, let me go to Discord. Here we go. And coin flip. So let's say I'm playing Team Carney. So what I would do is I would call, let's say I want to call Tails. I would tag Carney. All right. Tag Carney. And so whoever gets, I guess I'll just flip the coin first and show you how it'll work. So flip. And you can just press enter there. The coin is going to be landing on heads. So Carney would pick the first matchup. So in this case, let's say Carney, like my team is Flare Blitz and Gengar. Let's say he wants to play Gengar. I would then select who myself and who Flare Blitz play on his team. It would be between his members, which are Perry and Trickster. Thank you, Confused. I appreciate it. All right. To make this work, everyone has to be proactive with doing the coin toss early in the week, because only when everyone has their matchups may they begin playing, and only after the previous weekends may the coin toss happen. It is set up this way to avoid coaches gaining an unfair advantage by knowing their opponent ahead of the transaction deadline and then adjusting their team accordingly. Once you have your matchups, you can schedule a best of 3 with your opponent. Every player must play their best of 3. The team matchup also functions as a best of 3, where the first team to reach 2 wins takes the win for the week. Note that in the event your team starts the week 2-0, the last players must still play their match, because the individual records will still be the first factor to break ties in the standings, and will also count individual records, both accumulated match scores and game scores, for stat keeping. I don't know what they're doing in the channel, by the way. I'm just kind of ignoring what's going on. But anyway, the 4 teams with the best record at the end of the season will earn a place in finals. They'll be seeded 1 through 4, and the 1 seed will play the 4 seed while the 2 plays the 3. Winners will advance to the championship match. This season, we are not going to be hosting a silver finals, so try your best to make top cut. Alright, and then last but not least, match reporting. So match reporting is going to work mostly the same way as last season. Everyone should keep track of their own kills and work with their opponent to fill in the gaps when you go to report a score. So scores should look like this. Let's say, like I said, when I picked the opponent that I wanted, let's say I picked Trickster. So I'm going to do, let's say this is week 1, stacks. Let's say he beat me 1-2 like he did in playoffs last season. Stacks 1-2 Trickster. And then under this, I'm gonna write all of the Pokemon that we both brought. So I'm gonna try my best to remember the teams, but it doesn't really matter. I'm just gonna like put in 12 Pokemon anyway. Grafaiai. Alright, I'm starting to forget. Blaziken, Flareon, and then let's say he brought Magmortar, Politoed, Basculegion, Female, Indeedee, Terrakion, and Arceus. I don't know, whatever. Okay, so these are the Pokemon that were brought, and then let's say Dragapult got 3 kills, Blaziken got 2 kills, Politoed got 3 kills, Indeedee got 5 kills, right? And then Terrakion got 4 kills. This is how you would do it. So yeah, works the same way as last season. And then once you paste this, since there's spoiler tags on it, it'll show up with spoiler tags. So yeah, we asked that you put the spoiler tags on it to avoid people like who wanted to watch your match, like seeing the result. All right, and then you can always post them in stats input channel. All right, so I hope you're all as excited to play this season as I and the rest of the FDL Council are to bring it to you. The hope is that we drive competition, collaboration, and fun to a new level. We're not afraid to try new things, but we understand that there might be some hiccups along the way, so I invite you to speak your mind on how you're enjoying this new format or any changes that you want to see. As always, good luck and have fun to all of you, and I'll see you in the draft. Peace.